Hi drummers, hope you're well. So classic drum groove for you today. This is Use Me by Bill Withers, played by James Gadson on drums, and it goes like this. So absolutely classic little funk, like 2-bar phrase. It's 16th notes on the hi-hat all the way, played with the same stick. 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander. Little point about these, to my ears, these are pretty even. Often when we play a 16th note feel with a single hand on the hi-hat, we think about accenting, don't we? Or often a drummer will accent, typically on every 8th note. So 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander. Or sometimes on the beat, 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander. I'd say that doesn't hugely happen here. The notes are fairly even. Just kind of keeps ticking along like that. The snare drum, as you can hear, is a side stick. One of those. It's got a really funky pattern, man. The snare drum goes... One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So it's pretty busy, man, pretty funky. Let's break that down a little bit. The first bar of the two has a backbeat, so a big snare drum hit or a side stick anyway on 2 and 4, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... But it also has snare drums on the of beat 2, 1 E and a 2 E and a. On the E of beat 3, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. On the 4, and then on the of beat 4. So first bar, just the hands, but all of the snare drums. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So first bar, again, just the hands. The second bar, the snare drum is less frequent. You've got it on the 2. You've got it on the of beat 2, as in the first bar. 1 E and a 2 E and a. And then that's it until the very last 16th, the of beat 4. So ignoring the open hi-hats for a second, the second bar with the hands would go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So let's, as the next stage, play the 16th notes on the hi-hat, and we'll play all of the snare drums, both the bars, and we'll loop those 2 bars, but we won't open the hi-hat at all. We'll save that just for now. So 1 E and a 2 E and a, both bars, all the hands, here we go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, 1 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And 1. 1. And last time, 1. You're starting to feel the groove, right? I'm starting to hear that lead line, do 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 do, as with that side stick playing all the full part there. Now the bass drum. Now the bass drum is pretty busy, man. 2 kicks on 1 and in the first bar. Again, first bar. On beat 2, you play upbeat 16th, so you play the E and the So we're in the first bar here. I'm playing the full hand part, but I'm adding in just the first half of the kicks, the first 4 kicks. You getting that? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. I reckon for a lot of guys learning this, that kick that goes with the snare drum, with the rim click on the of beat 2 might be the most challenging at first. that one there. In the second half, it plays, the bass drum plays 3 and then and-a, so we'll add that in as well. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. You getting this? 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And on beat 4, we're playing upbeat 16ths, the E and the So here's the whole of the first bar with everything. I'll go slow and I'll build up some speed. I'm just looping the first bar of the 2 here. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and Okay, we'll pick up a bit of speed. On the record, it's at 77 beats per minute, so fairly slowish. Live versions, I play this song live sometimes, and typically, often the band leader, the singer, will want to go a little bit quicker. Not always, by any means. Sometimes the groove can be in its sort of slow grooviness, but very often I find singers or people playing this want to go a little faster than the original, but 77 beats per minute. So that's the first bar. In the second bar, the kick goes 1 and again. One and 2 E and up. There's also a kick on the E of beat 2, second 16th note. 1 E and a 2 E and up. You've also got 2 kicks on 3E, second bar. 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E. Now this, on the E there, this is where we start to open the hi-hat. Now these are hi-hat bursts or hi-hat chokes. So you open the hi-hat as you hit the kick. So you strike the hi-hat as you hit the kick and you lift up the hi-hat at the same time. And then that's on the E of beat 3, remember. And then you do this 3 times in a row. The idea is you lift up the hi-hat as you strike it, and then in the gap in between, so on the 16th note afterwards, where you're actually not hitting the hi-hat, or at least hitting it very, very lightly, with the way some drummers play it, you are going to close the hi-hat there. So these are little bursts. I've got a video about drum bursts. I'll link to it in the description below. You might need to just have a little play around with those first. Making sure you've got those nailed. They feature around in the rock and pop grades anyway, at grade 5. Musicology's got some by Prince. So we're looking at around a grade 5 kind of level, I would say, overall for this groove, if you include these open hi-hats. So, tell you what we'll do. We'll play the whole of the second bar now. And can you see what's happening? Once you hit 3, you go 3 E and 4 E. And then on the last one, the of beat 4, a closed hi-hat, but that cheeky little snare side stick comes in on the with the kick. So second bar, slow, everything. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 E. So people often ask me about like whether you lift your foot, whether you're like heel up or heel down on the hi-hat basically during bursts. And my little rule, I think I got this from a Pete Riley lesson or video. I think he said this once, and that was if you, or might have been on his DVD, his little rule is if you play like at a moderate tempo or above, a 16th note, he would play the burst with the foot up, like bouncing on the ball of your foot as you open the hi-hat. And if it was an 8th note at a moderate speed or above, then you'd play heel down. Do you see what I mean? Like using your ankle like a hinge. Generally speaking, especially at that slightly faster live tempo here, I'd probably go heel up, but both work just fine, man. Here's the difference between the sounds. Second bar, heel up on the hi-hat. And heel down. So it really depends what you find easier, I guess, and what you like the sound of. I personally I've always found heel up when you're doing that kind of thing on the hi-hat a little bit easier, especially as the tempo gets a bit quicker. And yeah, but both work just fine, man. Both work just fine. When you do, if you're going to go heel up, I would say I would probably, when playing this song, set my hi-hat so that probably a bit more closed than normal, so it doesn't make a massive sound when you go heel up. So even the open sound is not too far apart. Do you know what I'm saying? All right, time to play the whole groove now. I'm going to play the whole thing real slow with everything, both bars. I'm going to loop it, and I'll just pick up speed as we go. Here it comes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Right, pick it up a bit. Cool. Hope that all makes a bit of sense. It's a really fun groove, man. Yeah, people always ask me what grade level these things are at. That's about a 5, I would say, something like that. You absolutely see that in like a rock and pop grade 5 type of level. So I hope that's helpful. Absolutely classic groove. People have asked me as well about the side stick block that I'm using. This is like the rest of my kit, made by the Cambridge Drum Company. Absolutely flipping love it. It's a side stick block. It's called Rim Block, and it's just a great way of getting a really nice. Hopefully this is coming across on the video, like woody, consistent, reliable. And sort of gorgeous side stick sound, really. Really projects nicely, has a beautiful tone. Nothing wrong, of course, with the side stick sound on these drums anyway, for just hitting the rim in the regular way, that's fine. But it just gives it a little bit of a lift, man. I just think it cuts like crazy, but maintains that lovely kind of woodiness that really contributes to the sound. Obviously, we haven't gigged on this kit in a while because of everything that's going on, COVID and all the rest of it. I think I've done 3 gigs on this kit, which I did when I first got it in March, basically before this all started. And one of the gigs, we're playing this barn out in Essex, and the first tune was Master Blaster, right? Stevie Wonder. So you got with that side stick thing. And I remember everyone in the band just going, as soon as I started the groove, going, "Oh, what's that? That's a bit tasty." I think the bass player remarked that it was, actually, that was the guitarist remarked that it had a kind of like an album quality sound, like straight away. So yeah, just that's what that is. People have been asking me. You get it different colours. It's a load of fun. So thanks so much for watching as always. Massively appreciate it. And any questions about that or anything else, give us a shout. See you soon. Cheers.